Corpse after corpse.
The only thing scarier than human-sized is a barefoot lady. Oh god. I was right. Barefoot women are terrifying.
We're sending her back. A lot has changed since my girlfriend last set foot in the lands between, but in anticipation of the DLC, we both knew it was finally time to revisit Elden Ring.
I feel like I probably want to try something different. You are like the opposite of maidenless.
Neither of us have touched this game since 2022 thanks to hard drive failures that lost our save files. But that won't stop us from clawing our way back to the Erdtree one more time. Although this time won't be quite like the last, because she's out for blood. And rot.
Oh, she is like super naked.
There's one great rune she never acquired, and before she meets Miquella, she really ought to meet his sister. So without further hesitation, it's time for her to cross the fog into the lands between once more, and see if after all this time, she's still worthy of the title Elden Lord. Well, like every Souls adventure with a girlfriend, it wouldn't be complete without 2 hours of character creation. While she spends the next 90 minutes designing a face that will more than likely be covered with a helmet for the entire playthrough, I'll quickly turn things over to her for a made my girlfriend do an ad read. Hopefully by the time she's done, she'll be through character creation.
All I'm seeing is smooth. Unfortunately, not all of us look like this when they've got 255 points in the body hair stat, but Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra has got you covered, and you can get it for 20% off using the code BOYMEETSGIRL. When it comes to relationship goals, what speaks even louder than embracing the blood of the dark soul is below the waist grooming. The package features Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra electric trimmer, which sets a new standard for grooming precision with its next-gen dual skin-safe blade heads. Thought I was smooth at shaving off health bars? Well, the lawnmower is even smoother. The upgraded trimmer blade features longer, wider, and rounded teeth that cut through hair with ease. While gentle on skin, it's a precision powerhouse that cuts cleaner than an ultra great sword. If one blade isn't your cup of tea, then maybe you should try two, because the foil blade gives a smooth finish designed to get even the tiniest hairs. As someone who has recently been obsessed with dual wielding, I can tell you that two blades are definitely better than one. Not to mention it's waterproof, has a rechargeable battery, and also features an LED light with a dual temperature feature to complement a variety of skin tones. The package also features the Weed Whacker 2.0, which takes care of pesky nose hairs. It's cordless, waterproof, and rechargeable. Adding to the list, you also get the Crop Soother and Crop Preserver, which are the perfect pair to keep them refreshed and revitalized while roaming the lands between. But guess what? When you use our link, you'll receive 2 free gifts, the Boxers 2.0 and Manscaped Shed 2.0 travel bag. So what are you waiting for? You won't be maidenless forever. Head over to manscaped.com and get your hands on the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. When you use our code BOYMEETSGIRL, you'll get 20% off plus 2 free gifts and free international shipping. Your balls will thank you, and so will your girlfriend.
I've spent the past 2 years training my girlfriend to be the ultimate co-op companion in some of my favorite games, and it's all come to a head with the release of Elden Ring's first DLC. Long gone are the days of her losing me for 100 plus hours of my time when a new game comes out. Instead of completely taking over my life, it takes over our lives. Nowadays, the two of us get to sink hundreds of hours of our precious time on Earth into stuff together.
You and I are both on our own little side quests. I don't know where I'm going.
So needless to say, when the two of us looked at the calendar and saw Elden Ring's DLC was going to release, we canceled all our plans and called in sick. Our original plan was to just run through the main game and get 2 characters prepped for the Shadow of the Erdtree. But pretty quickly, the two of us were realizing how much different her playthrough was than the last one we had to do.
First try to discover this was like, what the fuck? I just went right back up the elevator in classic Tarny fashion.
Among the goals of getting upgraded weapons and Estus flasks, my girlfriend was out to prove herself and conquer the Erdtree, an optional area with the most difficult boss in the game, who just so happens to be the sister of the main character the DLC revolves around. But getting there is only half the battle, so she can't exactly just waltz up to the hardest boss in the game without some preparations either.
Ooh, that could have been bad. Oh, those are bears.
Due to the game's massive scale, she missed a ton of stuff on her first pass through of the game, and I think she did about the bare minimum required of her to fight the Elden Beast and ascend the throne. The reality is, back then just beating the game was an impressive enough accomplishment for her. Anything extra was just a bonus. In order to get access to the consecrated snowfield, and subsequently Miquella's Erdtree, she'd need at least 2 great runes, and to make it to the base of the Erdtree in the royal capital.
I remember the first time we were here, we're like, do they even care about us? Oh, yep, they do.
As much as she was rushing through the base game to get those 2 runes out of the way, she still needed to collect all the important stuff for the upcoming DLC, such as Sacred Tears and Golden Seeds. She had a final build in mind, but since upgrade materials are abundant in the late game, for now she was just using what she could find. It kinda makes the game a joke when you go out of your way to hunt a bunch of upgrade materials early on, but in her defense, she's already playing the game once, and she just wants to get to the new stuff. For now, the path of least resistance is to just curb stomp the early game while cosplaying as Guts.
Because I could.
Since she had a much better idea where she was going and what she was doing this go around, she put in some more effort to complete some of the NPC quest lines she blew off the first time through.
Look at him. He's so tall. This is how I feel when I'm talking to you. I look so like determined and earnest. I'm just like, okay, and I'm like looking like all the way up. Like, I got this.
A lot of this journey was dictated by which NPC she was helping, and thanks to that, Radahn's Great Rune was the first one to go.
I beat him! Woo!
That fight really set the tone for what was to come, and after struggling with him so much last time, I think it was a nice confidence boost for her. It should come as no surprise that grabbing Godric's rune and beelining it straight for Lindell's capital was short work. It was around this point I looked over and was like, God damn, you're even further along than I am, girl.
Oh geez, you're in Market already.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll try to catch up.
I hate to admit it, but I've had her play so many of these games that she's starting to get better than me in some ways.
So when you run up those stairs on the left, there's gonna be a guy who tries to like surprise you. Very nice. Keep going there, and then you'll kind of just hang to the right. Oh yeah, you can get that grace. So you'll go past that like gargoyle statue, and you're gonna go up that little branch, and then to get onto the big branch for that tree.
It felt like I blinked and suddenly she was riding through the snowfields, but she was a woman on a mission and could not be stopped, even if we wanted her to.
I am the great Jar warrior, Iron Fist Alexander. Let me fight, O warriors.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alexander. He didn't even get to finish saying his speech.
Victory was impossible.
The biggest thing is actually finding the Halig tree, because last time she made it about as far as the liturgical town site of Grace before she turned back.
I was a speedrunner. I just had a speedrunning tactic. I'm convinced.
Did you get the candle already?
I got that one, so there's one more. I got that one, this one, I got the one on the ground.
The last one you're missing is the one I'm missing. Look all the way straight ahead. Your hammer's blocking it, that's why you can't see it. The puzzle isn't that hard, but the area that follows has some of the toughest enemies in the game. Makes up for it by being totally cool and fun to explore though.
Oh, I'm like literally on a tree.
And perhaps most thrilling of all for my girlfriend was realizing there was still such a large stone left unturned for her.
This is so cute. It's like all these cute garden pieces, like gazebos and stuff, and it's like in a really creepy tree.
I think originally when she saw there was this optional super boss off the beaten path that she missed out on, she expected her to be hidden behind some fog wall somewhere she already explored.
This is a blood-borne ladder. I'm still going. I can't even see the top.
I don't think she really understood that 2 whole unique areas existed on the road to the base of the Halig tree.
This is cool.
After descending the tree quite a ways down, she was finally able to see what she recognized as the arena of the fight based on what she'd seen from me in the past. And that's how she knew she was getting close.
So if I could just get a plunging attack, right?
Finally, at the roots of the tree, it's time we got to today's main attraction. After a few last-minute preparations on her part,
All part of Tarney's plan.
all that was left to do was step through the fog and see what all the fuss was about.
I'm so nervous right now. She's taking a nap. Or maybe she's dead? She is not dead.
I dreamt for so long.
She was taking a nap.
I am Malenia, Blade of Miquella.
Oh god.
And I have never known defeat.
Oh no! Let's fucking go. okay. What the fuck? Only do one of those at a time. Whew. Punish. I don't like that one. Shit, nope, don't, nope, nope, nope. Damn it. Ooh.
Malenia, the Blade of Miquella, is one of the toughest bosses FromSoft has ever made. She's fast, unforgiving, and comes packing one of the most brutal status ailments on top of it all. If all that wasn't intimidating enough, this is the first boss I'm aware of that heals health back after successfully hitting you. If you're not careful, this fight can quickly become 2 steps forward and 3 steps back.
This fight, I'll have like really smart moments and then really dumb moments to just undo like all my hard work.
I laughed at the mere suggestion that I should make my girlfriend fight her back when people asked in our original video, but a lot has changed since then. My girlfriend has proven she can go toe-to-toe with some of the toughest bosses from the Souls series, and although many consider Malenia to be on a completely different level than those other bosses, my girlfriend appreciates when a fight makes her struggle a bit nowadays. She's got a confidence this time that she was missing before, and I could already tell from her first fight how badly she wanted to win.
Damn it. Damn it. Yup. Ow.
For both of our sakes, I really hope she could beat her quickly, because we both agreed that neither of us would start the DLC until victory was hers. And only after agreeing to that pact did it fully sink in how long it took me to get the win the first time. It took me days just to even see the second phase of the fight. But with that being said, that first night of attempts for her was encouraging.
Nice. Second phase, baby. I know your tricks. The barefoot women always have second phases. The only thing more terrifying than a human-sized boss is a barefoot woman.
Wait.
Barefoot woman that weighs 90 pounds.
Especially when she grabs me. She's like a lotus.
The scarlet bloom flowers once more.
She's a butterfly! She was in a cocoon! Oh, she is like super naked. I knocked off her helmet.
Now, rot.
Uh-oh. Okay. Oh god. That was terrifying. Oh, I'm scarlet rotted, okay. That's cute.
Let your flesh
Damn it.
be consumed by the scarlet rot.
I don't want scarlet rot.
I wish I could say that things only went up from here, but in true girlfriend fashion, her best attempts always seem to come early. Unfortunately, she wouldn't be seeing the Goddess of Rot phase of this fight for a few days. Whether it was beginner's luck or just plain nerves, she could not clear the first phase again after seeing the second one.
I'm like stomping on all the flowers.
Possibly the biggest stopgap for her in this fight was Malenia's waterfowl dance, or as my girlfriend begrudgingly refers to it, the waterfall dance. If you know anything about Malenia, it's probably that she has this move. And if you fought her yourself, I'm sure you know why.
Dude, that one sucks.
Put simply, it's 3 bursts of rapid slashes that come out in a sphere surrounding her, and the timing window to dodge is incredibly tight. I must have demonstrated how to do it for my girlfriend a dozen times, but the truth is, I don't even dodge it 100% of the time.
Or I was far enough away from her bladey attack, her waterfall attack, but I didn't really realize it was that because I was far away.
Oh, no.
So I didn't sprint, and I totally could have sprinted and like gotten out of it, but I didn't realize. I was like, huh, I did the thing correctly for like the first time.
Days went by and it felt like no progress was being made. She adjusted her stats, tried different armors, different ashes of war, and ate enough shellfish to put the hibachi grill down the street out of business.
I want your crabs.
Never met someone with a taste for crab I couldn't trust.
We're buds.
But nothing seemed to work.
I might just be overthinking it, because I was getting it earlier.
Meanwhile, I was just sitting there trying not to be too pushy while looking at all our friends on Discord playing the DLC and feeling the tremendous weight of the FOMO starting to sink in.
Yeah, that one I just rolled away from all of them, and I was like, yeah, that doesn't work.
It is literally designed to punish that, I'm almost positive. So there's a lot to talk about here, and I don't even know where to begin. I watched her die over and over again on this boss, and the gears started turning in my head of how I could help her out. My hunger for the DLC concocted all kinds of ideas for how she could min-max her character and optimize her build, and for the first time in a long time, she welcomed the recommendations.
Whoa!
You know when she's willing to sacrifice her fashion souls that she's truly getting desperate.
Damn it.
Since she was running a double colossal hammer build, I noticed she liked to use a lot of jumping attacks. In order to maximize the damage, I had her grab the claw talisman and the raptor's black feathers chest piece to give her a little more oomph.
I found the... Yes.
She was hitting way harder, but the problem was she was getting hit much harder in return. After about an hour with the new setup, she could tell something was wrong, but didn't know what.
Do you want to watch me do this? A little bit to kind of give me some tips.
What's your poise like? I'm actually curious. Did we drop below poise because you took off the chest piece?
Maybe. That's probably...
I'm noticing, like, that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
That might be the problem. I hope that's the problem, because that's a really easy fix. 43, that's the problem.
That's why it felt weird.
That's why you're so much weaker. So we can get to 51 poise. Radon's gets us there. Radon's is cool looking. We'll wear Radon's.
Cool. My red hair, my red mane can match Melena's. Or Malenia.
I
It
felt
felt bad. Yeah, and it's just like, it didn't feel right. It felt
explain.
harder.
Perhaps most unexpected of all to come from her quest to defeat Malenia was the girlfriend character development in which she was so desperate for more poise that she actually put on a helmet in one of these games. Okay, so first of all, the physical resistance on your current helmet is 0.1. Whereas like 3.8 to 1.4, any of these would be better than my current. This all was great, but it didn't really address the biggest problem of them all. She still needed to deal with the waterfowl.
I swear. I run in there, jump heavy, like jump swing, dodge, jump swing. She goes up, does a thing that I dodge, jump swing. Staggers, I parry, jump swing. I have taken no damage. She is halfway done, and every single time I've done that, what does she do? Waterfall.
Due to her heavier playstyle, running away from the waterfall dance wasn't a consistent option for evading the attack. So instead, we hit the drawing board to try and figure out an alternative.
Sometimes I just have like such flawless ones where I'm like, yeah, we're dancing. Then I'm like, okay, we're brawling.
Having been her audience of one for all these attempts, I was starting to notice some things about how she played. For one, it was always the first flurry of slices that caught her in the waterfall. The second and third, she was pretty good at getting away from. After equipping the Endure Ash of War, she was able to stance through the first series of cuts and then roll the last two. Malenia would still heal a ton of health from those hits, but in this fight, an attempt you live through a waterfowl is a blessed one.
Damn it. That killed me? Oh, I didn't. That killed me though. That one hurts.
With all these changes, she still had to get good if she wanted a chance at being this boss though. All the poise, damage reduction, and jumping attacks in the world weren't going to change anything if she couldn't dodge and figure out which attacks she could punish. Even when going on a full-off offensive, the fact the boss can heal means that recklessness can easily be your undoing.
I got her! I got her! I got her!
Congrats!
I just died, but I got her!
You died and got her?
No, I killed her first, then the Scarlet Rot killed me. Please count. Please count. Please count.
Oh my god.
Please count. Please count. I don't know if it counts. No.
Oh.
That doesn't count! She did her dying line!
Oh no.
She did her dying line! Rot! I got stuck.
Oh no.
This.
Having victory so close and then snatched from her grasp definitely stung. There's probably 101 things she could have done to squeak out the win there, but the last thing she wanted to hear after a death like that was advice from me of all people.
I gotta walk it off.
So instead, out of instinct for my own self-preservation, I quickly devised a reason to go to the store because I was afraid of hanging around to see where the dust settled. Knowing her, if she did it once, I'm sure she could do it again, but I wasn't willing to take the risk to stick around and see how it played out. My only regret is that I couldn't take the cat with me.
The cat wants to go to the store with you. He's like, Nookie, please let me go. I want to get some gum. heal up. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
The mark of a true lord.
I did it. I killed her!
Dearest,
Sit down.
my brother.
There can only be one barefooted lady, and it might even be me.
Finally, with that victory, our embargo on playing the DLC has been lifted.
It's finally over. Oh, she should have stayed dead the first time.
With that great rune acquired, at last she's able to say she's beaten every boss in the game. And on top of that, we can get started with the DLC. It should go without saying that almost as soon as she beat the boss, the two of us were galloping across the Shadowlands together.
I like great hammers. I love great hammers.
And I can tell you from what we've seen so far, we're in for quite the adventure.
From the side, yep, called it. I've played a Souls game or two.
The two of us have had a blast discovering a brand new world in this game, and I've been having tons of fun editing her adventure thus far.
Is this what I think it is? Grace, Grace, Grace. Grace!
Hopefully we'll see you back next week when she's conquered the DLC and all the crazy bosses waiting for her in it.
There's no way this isn't a boss.